Today, I'm delighted to introduce Naana Badu, a stylist, speaker, and coach who specializes in helping accomplished women intentionally dress to be seen and taken seriously. Welcome, Naana, and thank you so much for chatting with me about this super compelling topic.
Thank you for the invitation, Melissa. It's great to be here.
Before we dive in, can you share your style coach journey and approach to changing lives through style?
Yeah, I have been doing styling and image consulting for a while now. It's amazing, about 15 years. And I started in this space because I was once a corporate woman. I worked in management consulting in the IT space. And, I am a Black woman and a woman of color, both in skin and in her attire and style. And I love to bring that kind of energy to the workplace and the way that I worked and the way that I communicated and engaged with all of my clients and peers.
Right.
And I was often, that person who wore a lot of colors or prints or showcased her personality through her style, while at the same time being professional, managing my clients, doing the work, delivering excellent service in the work products that I created. So it became part of my calling card and personal brand of just having this really bold and authentic style. And so I had a manager who actually approached me one day and needed some help in getting her style to have more authenticity and have more executive presence as she was seeking some promotions within her career. And I assisted her with elevating her style. We did a whole, what not to wear kind of moment for those who are old enough to know what that reference means. It was definitely my first experience really helping someone in a styling capacity, like one-on-one, who's a working woman every day, but she just wants to feel confident about how she's showing up. And so that was an amazing experience and really pivotal in kicking off my journey as a stylist and image consultant.
Wow, that's excellent. Well, on that note, can you share with us your style tips to dress with intention?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so many. I think one thing you hit the nail on the head with the intention piece, right? Like a lot of times, sometimes, especially for women, we can think about getting dressed as an afterthought or just like a robotic movement of a list of things you have to do in the day. But it's really important to set an intention for the actual look that you want to create. So think fully about how you're getting dressed. So one tip that I always like to encourage is to think about what I call the CAB, which is clothing, accessories, and beauty. Those are three ingredients that you want to make sure you always include in your look. So don't just stop after I just got dressed and I just put clothing on. Think about the jewelry, right? Think about those brilliant pieces that you're going to add into your wardrobe that are going to give you some more statement making attraction. And think about that beauty. How are you styling your hair? What are you doing for your makeup? Right? When you put all of these elements together, that's what really takes just getting dressed or just throwing on something to a place of being intentional about how you're going to show up.
I recall once you shared a reaction from a stranger about what you were wearing, and I'll drop that link into the show notes, but I will never forget it, and I'm pretty sure he is not going to forget about you. Can you recap that spontaneous conversation and the takeaway about what our style can do?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. And and full disclosure, this happens to me quite often, right? It's like an occupational hazard, but I'm always extremely intentional and thoughtful about how I present myself when I step out into the world. So on this particular day, I was headed to my local coffee shop. here in Brooklyn, go there all the time to do some work. And I was just in the line, gonna order my oatmeal chai latte. And the guy in front of me, an older gentleman, right, turned around and he said, you know, you have so many conversation starters in your look. It's like, I really love your glasses. These same glasses I'm wearing now is what I was wearing at the time. And he said, but there's so many other conversation starters. I just really appreciate it. And I just had this, you know, Joker cheese grin on my face because I'm like, oh, this is just, you know, through and through what I love to share with women about the power of your style. And, you know, I talk about this often about conversation starting style, right? And what that means and how your style really needs to do two things, right? You want to always spark conversation and invite connection, right? And so that can happen simply by you deciding to wear a piece that's going to engage anything from a recruiter to a random person in line at the coffee shop, right? And so it just showcases like that ability to connect with people in a very personal and casual way that could lead to like a great conversation. And if nothing else, lead to you having a more of a, you know, joy in the rest of your day, you know, and a little pick me up because you got a great compliment from somebody, right? It's an easy way to, you know, give you a little bit more confidence and change your mood.
Absolutely. And I might add that goes both ways. So, you know, it's a great way for maybe you to wear something that's a conversation starter, but imagine walking into a room and you think, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone here. And maybe that's kind of a strategy to open up a conversation with someone in the room. Maybe they have a really interesting pair of frames on like you have, or a really cool piece of jewelry, or maybe it's even a really interesting tie if it's a gentleman. So
Yeah.
I suspect that there's an art to selecting these statement pieces, be it jewelry, accessories, or signature garments that also create continuity and consistency in your style.
Definitely, definitely. You know, when you're thinking about conversation starting pieces, there's something called the style matrix that I coined that I love to tell people to think about, and it includes four things: the color, the print, cut, and texture. So color, print, cut, and texture, right? So whether you're looking at a piece of clothing or a piece of jewelry, right, Melissa, which, you know, is completely your department, right? Or even thinking about something in the beauty space, you know, when you're looking at that suit or that blazer, that dress, you want to think about what's the color. Is that color complementary to my skin tone, to my eyes, to my hair? You know, is it really illuminating my features? Or is it more weighing me down in a way that's unflattering for how I want to engage with others and how I want others to engage with me? Right. So you really want to understand color and select colors that really, you know, illuminate you. And the next is print. I think everyone can wear some kind of print, right? Sometimes print gets a bad name. Like prints are so loud, right? We're so quick to like, you know, put things in polarizing ways of like, oh, I can't wear print. No, no, no. Find a print that works for you, right? Like it might be maybe you're more of a paisley and floral print person. You know, you might be more of a geometric print or a cultural print to maybe where that's ornate to your background, right? Like find those areas where you can add a little print into a blouse or even a statement necklace piece, right? Or a tie, right? There's so many different ways to incorporate print into a space. And then lastly, cut and texture, right? Cut is about simply the unique shape, like what kind of shape is created through that garment. And that could be the hem of the garment or the neckline that might be unique. Maybe it's asymmetrical, maybe it's a high-low cut of the hem of a dress, right? It's something that's just a little bit more interesting than your standard straight cut of a neckline or a dress. And then lastly, texture. I love, love, love texture. I think texture is like the secret ingredient to a great look. Like, because you could be like, especially if you're a New Yorker, New Yorkers love black, right? It's just like black.
It's so true.
And I'm like, I get it. It's easy. It's like, stain resistant or stain proof for a lot of people who have that kind of sensibility, right? But the way that you can even elevate that is by having different types of materials of black. Don't just wear black in cotton or cotton polyester blends from head to toe. Add some leather, add faux leather, add, a little bit of fur, add a little bit of sheer along the neckline. Like, mix in some other textures, some other materials into your garments in particular. And that's like an amazing way for you to still be put together, but to elevate it in a way that gets people like, oh, I never thought about that. That's kind of sharp.
I like that piece of advice, especially because I know I've got a lot of black and gray and brown in my wardrobe. And so I think that that piece about texture really does kind of make me think a little bit differently about how I'm going to pair things.
Yeah.
And I did notice after listening to a number of your videos, I realized how color really just pops out of my closet. And nothing gets you seen more than that, just the idea of color in a field of black or navy blue or something along those lines. It's a differentiating piece, how color can also be kind of used in this way.
Absolutely.
So my next question is kind of about more business forward, and it's a two-parter. So as women, possibly especially women of color, do you think there is an appearance-based bias about our unique styles being too much of a good thing? And what does it look like to authentically dress with intention and, probably the most important part, be taken seriously?
Yeah, this is a huge, huge topic of conversation in the workplace and of concern for a lot of women when they're thinking about what should I wear, what is appropriate, right? Like you mentioned, I work a lot with women of color, and when it comes to appearance-based bias, this is a big piece, right? There's this sense of, how can I wear my hair? Can it be natural? Can I wear it in braids? What style's okay? If I wear too much color, will I be seen as too much or too loud, right? And I think for women as a whole, I mean, I know even myself, especially when you might be in a space where you're the youngest in your work environment or the only woman in your work environment, it's such a challenge to, kind of break the boys club and be seen on the same level of your peers, right? Especially if, you're ambitious and you're smart and you're sharp and you can do the things, and you're just like, okay, how do I manage all of these other dynamics that impact my success when it comes to my career, right? Because if you're a professional, we're so many, I'm sure your audience is filled with all kinds of professionals, but you really understand that it goes so much further than just your work, right? It's really about relationships and executive presence and leadership presence and being authentic in a really ornate way. And so for those women who have these kinds of thoughts on their mind, like, I invite you to do a few things. One, in a mindset space, I think really adopting that you being authentic and bringing more of who you are into the workplace is a positive. That people really do like respond favorably when you are yourself in a way that comes off confidently, right? You don't need to imitate another standard. You don't need to do what the rest of your peers are doing. If it doesn't feel naturally and in a space that's going to allow you to feel comfortable and confident, because people can feel that kind of energy. So really lean into what makes you unique. Understand your unique value, your unique personality traits, right? Like understand those things so that that can help you kind of break the ice in conversation and how you enter into the room. And I think that ties hand in hand with your style. So if you're, in a work environment and everyone's wearing gray and khaki and navy blue, but those colors make you feel drab or understated, or they're not even flattering to your skin tone or your hair or your eyes, like don't wear those colors. Like you have been granted permission to not wear those colors. That is not the standard for professionalism, right? And for women, I think that's something to understand, because sometimes a lot of those colors, depending on how you combine them, can feel very strong in a masculine way. And if you have a lot of feminine energy in your style, it just doesn't align. So take stock of that and don't feel pressured to fall into that kind of professional trap of I have to look in the black, gray, and khaki paradigm in order to be taken seriously. You do not, right? What's more important is that you're selecting pieces that are very much aligned with your personal style. So really understanding, define your personal style, know what it is, do that kind of self-discovery. If you need to create a mood board, I think a mood board is a great way for you to visually have clarity about what you want your work style to look like. How is it different, right? Because then you get ideas like Pinterest, Instagram, Google. There's so many images out there. Create a mood board for yourself, right? Have something you can reference. Even if you're doing a little shopping, be like, yo, you know what? I saw this look online. I think I kind of want to try that. Dive into that, explore. So get really clear on what your personal style is. That's going to allow the authenticity to come through in just a more seamless way for you. So that's a really, really important piece that I would encourage women to look at around getting that clarity piece. And that's going to help you kind of figure out, how can I navigate these spaces in a way that is, again, more confident.
Thank you so much. You've given me and our listeners so much amazing style advice. And I wonder if you have a parting piece for women leaders that we haven't touched on.
Yeah, I would say really reclaim your power through style. Like reclaim what it is that makes you feel at your best. And that really just means to me letting go of any of the limiting stories you've told yourself about what you can't wear, what's not appropriate, what you've been intimidated to wear, where you may have been intimidated to shop, right? What you feel you're not worthy of purchasing. Like release all of that limiting mindset, release those stories, let go of the stories of anyone who told you, that lipstick color is not appropriate for work, or that necklace is too big for you to be wearing in the workplace. Like there's so many things that we either say to ourselves or others have said to us that just like it registers, and there's this whole backlog of things that are just preventing you from really showing up as your best. So reclaim the power that you have, dress confidently, and you'll be unstoppable.
Amazing. One final question. What is the best way for people to engage your incredible expertise?
Come and visit me on LinkedIn. Come send a connection request, send me a message. Let me know that checked out this conversation with Melissa and I. Would love to hear what even some of your big takeaways were from the conversation.
I'll certainly put all of your contact details in the show notes. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Bye.